And I'm Jackie.
And this is the Weekend Hangover. Heidi ho, folks, and welcome to another weekend. How are you, Mama J?
I'm so good. I always get confused because on the other shows that we do, there is an intro after we press live. So I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead, go live. I'm just gonna have a drink here. And I'm like, oh shit, I can't because I gotta talk first.
We might have to come up with an actual intro, um, like the other shows, because for business party, we do the countdown into the intro. For off label, we do Rich just comes on and does his little spiel and tells everybody what we're gonna do, and then we go into the intro,
And then a
and here
video.
and the video of the week, and then here we just go hi, and then
Hey.
go into the 10 seconds, and then we're just right into it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And even like with Pretty Antisocial, we do the countdown and then the intro.
it's
So I'm
hard.
all messed up.
It's so much. Listen, I used to think this was the easiest thing in the world. I really did. I would always be like, because I was a huge Opie and Anthony fan growing up as a kid, and then they would talk for 6 hours a day. Now that I think about that, that is wild.
Yeah.
6 hours a day. They did 30 hours of radio. Sometimes, like, we just run out of things to say, and that's when we end the show, and it's just like, ugh. But yeah,
Well, and the
6
thing
hours.
is it's so the people who can like sit there and talk like by themselves and things for a really long time and do it live, I give them huge props because it's so hard. And like with what we do, I'm constantly in contact with you or Biz or Haley about the next episode or what we're going to do and things like that. So it's like it never stops. Like this is the fun part is
Yeah,
coming on live. And
yeah.
then everything else is we're like, motherfucker, rah, rah, rah." I
Well,
don't
I
even
mean,
fucking know. I've been busy.
listen, with off label and Stupids Play, which I've been joining the boys the last couple nights, we've been playing 7 Days to Die. And Amanda's been listen, I'm secretly trying to get her into doing this. I really am. I'm
Are you?
secretly yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm secretly just I mean, she's watching now, so she knows, but um just
Secretly out in the open.
in like because she has
The camera.
a lot of stuff to talk about, because she's a computer
Yeah.
nerd, and her and Biz and Rich talk nerd, and I'm just like, okay, you guys have your conversation, whatever. I don't care. But yeah, it's I'm slowly getting her into it, and we've been playing 7 Days to Die for a while. Yesterday we had an 8-hour stream of 7 Days
Oh
to
my
Die. Yeah,
god.
yeah, it's fun, and I hate them all because I'm starting to use my mouse and keyboard. I know this is geek talk to you, but
Yeah.
um,
If my eyes cross, it's not you. It's just my brain.
but yeah, like it's so. Have you ever you played console games before, right?
Yeah, like Doom when I was 5.
Console, Xbox.
Oh, obviously, I'm like the biggest gamer out of the bunch.
So you've played Xbox before?
I have. I used to play Halo, Call of Duty every now and then, but my biggest one was Crash Bandicoot. I
Oh
bought
crap!
them all on Xbox.
Do you have a
And
DS?
that's the one
Do you have a Switch?
my son does.
You should get a Switch because we should fuck up some Crash Bandicoot on Switch. I'm telling you right now,
I love Crash
I
Bandicoot.
do.
The one that really messes me up the most is like what is it? There's like I think it's called Hog Wild or whatever. And like you got a hog chasing you and you're on like this little bridge and you just gotta jump and like it's crazy. the bridge ones, man, to get me all the time. My son, he died we died. Okay, so me and my husband, like a few years ago, we're like, listen, we're gonna beat the whole game. I was like, yeah, let's fucking do this. And we died like 150 times on one level, and then I gave up. And I was done.
That's listen,
Debate playing and
you
then I gave up on video games entirely.
that's why I usually give up on games, 'cause if I consistently die I tried World of Warcraft, which my, cheating ex-wife, found somebody on World of Warcraft, which I feel really emasculated for that. But anyway, um, I kept dying, and I was like, "I'm done." Like, I just kept
Right.
dying, and I was like, "I'm done." And any game that I just keep dying at consistently for no apparent reason, it angers me, and I'm just like, "Fuck this, I'm
Uh-huh.
done. I don't wanna do this." And it was like I died like 15 times within, like, a half hour,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
consistently, and then I would go the next day, do it again, go the next day, and I was like, "I'm done. I can't do this. I can't." But,
See, I like the Halo one where you'd play with teams or whatever,
yeah,
and, like, you just run around and shoot people, that's cool. But, like, actually playing a game like that and, like, Call of Duty gave me major anxiety, and oh, especially, like, when they had the Call of Duty with zombies, I think it was.
mhm.
No. No, ma'am. Not my favorite. Nope.
I love
Don't like
Call of
that.
Duty Zombies.
Nope, can't do it. I'm like, because I'm like, I'm stuck in the corner. I can't do it. I can't. And then my fingers don't know what's up and what's down. I'm like, why is it opposite? I don't understand. So yeah, but I will play a mean like Mario Brothers, Mario Kart. My son doesn't let me play with him anymore because I kick his ass all the time. But no, like little games like that. But other stuff I'm not really into.
Oh,
Before I
sh
had what was it? A PS1, the first one, and I had the Spice Girls game. It was called Spice World, and you picked a Spice Girl, and you picked her outfit, and then you learn how to do a dance. It was pretty cool. That was
I'm
about it.
sorry, I'm trying to get, what are we doing here?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to using, okay, okay. Now I was I had I'm on 2 different accounts for
Ah,
our, thing, but I was gonna go
yeah.
to this, which is
Speaking of
the
games.
worst speaking of games, thank you. Duke basketball standout Kyle Filipowski passed over in the first round of the NBA draft. So, this story is a very interesting story, um,
Yes.
and a lot of people have been talking about it, and it's a weird thing because I don't know a lot about it. I've just heard some things about it. What have
Uh-huh.
you heard before we get into this? Let me remove this really
Okay.
quickly. So, what have you heard about it? I've only heard that he was a child technically when they got together. Kyle Filipowski and his girlfriend, um,
Caitlin.
Caitlin. So what have you heard?
Are you ready?
Let's do this,
Get ready.
please.
So, from what I've heard on the interwebs, so Kyle Filipowski, 7 foot basketball player at Duke. Um, he was slotted to be a first round pick for the NBA draft this season. And he got all dressed up, all goosed up and everything, and went to the draft thingy and then didn't get picked the first round. And a picture came out of him and his girlfriend. And he was really upset. And then there was a radio show called The Low Show that talks about sports or what have you. And they were talking about the reasons as to why this Kyle Filipowski fella didn't get drafted for the first round. Because being 7 foot and athletically there is good, right?
Yeah,
7 feet is
yeah.
crazy. That's like Yao Ming territory, you know? So they were talking, and they were talking about how he didn't do well in his interviews. He didn't do so well in the scouting or whatever. And the guy, one of the hosts, mentioned something about his girlfriend. Well, people on the internet were like, "Who the f is his girlfriend?" And I did. Hold up. I
Sorry.
can't do two things at once.
I know. My apologies. I told her to close OBS because her computer's kinda jittering
Was
out.
she?
Yeah.
I told you it's spying on me, and why did it
Well, it was doing
won't.
that to me before.
All right. Well, I'll figure it out another time
Okay.
when I'm done talking. So the internet did their sleuthing, and they're like, "Who the fuck is Kyle Filipowski,
Filipowski.
and who is his girlfriend?" Because apparently, um, the coaches and stuff knew that he was estranged from his family or something. Sleuths found out the kid's 20 years old, and his girlfriend turns out to be like 27 and been like had known him since he was like 12 or 13 years old. And then there's other stuff. I don't know how far you want me to get into it
I
before
wanna
we read
get
the
no,
articles.
let's go in. Let's go.
Okay. So anyway, Kyle ends up going into this, getting picked in the second round. I think he was like the 32nd pick, and he got chosen to go to the Utah Jazz. Now, as all this is going on, the internet is like, what the hell? What's going on? So there was speculation on whether or not that girl was a babysitter or someone. And then it comes out like someone had a picture of when like Kyle was like 13 and she was like in her 20s. And the tag in the picture on Instagram was like, oh, hey, all the cousins back together. Like, oh my God, what kind of Alabama backwards shit is this? They're cousins. And it was like, no, they're not really cousins. They're just really close family friends at the time. Well, this chick went to the University of Alabama, graduated, and the first picture of her and Kyle together is at his prom when he was 17 and she was like 22 or 23. And she went to his prom with him. And apparently she had commented on that picture saying, "Oh, 1 year with my babe," right? So that would mean that she was with him when he was 16 years old and she was 21, 22. Grody. And now people are like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because apparently she's a Mormon, and they think that she's like trying to like get him into like people are saying the Mormon cult or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that has anything to do with it, but it'd be interesting if it did. And his family, Kyle's family, is going on the internet and like, listen, this bitch made him write us a goodbye email. He didn't even call us on the phone. He wrote us an email saying, listen, you can't be my family no more. She made him do it. And then the girl's mom, Caitlin's mom, goes on to talk to like another news outlet and scene being like, we had told these kids from the beginning that with positivity, you're going to have to get some negativity too. So they're working through it all. And then I'm like, wait a second. So you're telling me
I don't
that
like the way
her
you
family,
perceived her mother, by the way. We gonna tell these kids that you're gonna get
we're
some
going to tell these
negativity.
kids, it gives me those vibes. Okay. So the mom, so from the different articles and pictures and stuff that are out there in the articles themselves, it seems that Caitlin's family has adopted, kind of like brought Kyle into their family. So it's okay that he doesn't have his mom and his brothers or anything like that, like, because he's like closer to Caitlin and them. And like apparently they're engaged and everything too. And
So it's a
his
grooming.
brother is saying that she's been working on him since 2019 when he was still in high school, because he was on the radar of people from the NBA by that time because of his height and ability and stuff. So they're basically calling her, what are they? I know in
No,
hockey they're called puck bunnies. I know they're some type of bunny. I don't know. Or a
a
gold digger. One of the two. I don't know.
puck
It's
buddy.
Yeah, have you never heard of a puck bunny before?
No, I've heard of
Oh,
buckle bunnies and, bunker bunnies before, but I've never heard of a puck bunny before.
well, it's all in the same vein, you know?
Yeah. So, this
That
article
that's
by
pretty much what
Yahoo
that's
Sports
story
says
time with Jackie.
Kyle Filipowski's decorated Duke basketball career caused NBA draft protagonist pro prognosticators to consider him a lock to be the first round pick, whether he came out last year or this year. When the picks came out in Wednesday night, Filipowski didn't hear his name called. The ACC tournament's most valuable player of his freshman season and a second team All American as a sophomore for the Blue Devils, Filipowski was not selected among the draft's 30 picks during the first round at the Barclays Center in New York. The draft continues with the second round beginning at 4 p.m. Thursday, and that's the lone solace for Filipowski, who was one of the 25 players that the NBA invited to join the green room at the draft site on Wednesday night, sitting with his fiance plus Duke coach John Sayer and Duke basketball employee Rachel Baker and Zach Marcus at the draft. Filipowski watched Duke teammate Jared McCain go to Philadelphia with the number 16 pick overall. The 6'11 Filipowski started all 72 games the Blue Devils played over the past two seasons as they posted consecutive 27-9 record in John Sayer's first two seasons as head coach following Mike Krasinski's retirement.
Coach K.
Coach
I know
K.
who that is.
So yeah, this is just going over him and his stuff. I don't care. Let's share this one. Mom of Duke star Kyle Filipowski's fiance, Caitlin
Hutchison?
Hutchison speaks out after 6'11 phenomenon dropped in the NBA draft amid claims her daughter groomed him when he was 15 and she was 22.
Yep.
Amanda Hutchison, 60, said the family has been having to weather the storm. Filipowski's family says his fiance was forced. His fiance.
Yes.
So they are engaged to be married, forced him to cut ties with them. The mother of Kyle Filipowski's 7 years older girlfriend has spoken out the first time amid the shocking allegations that her daughter groomed a college basketball star while he was still in high school. The 20-year-old Duke alum got engaged to Caitlin Hutchinson in April and is now estranged from his family, who has accused the 27-year-old of coerced control and scheming to entrap the rising star for 5 years. There will be things forthcoming, Amanda Hutchinson said at her home in Madison, Alabama, adding that the couple is laying low amid the storm of accusations. I mean,
Hon, go up, because that was the quote.
okay,
Go up, go up.
okay. What we've always said to the kids is for everything that's good, if you have faith at all, there will be adversaries. That's the way she said. There's always a negative for every positive, she said. So it's how we weather those storms. I uh, I don't
What?
know. I don't
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't It's a double-edged fucking sword, and I hate to say it, I really do, but it's a double-edged sword when a female does it to a male. I don't know. I mean,
Read?
the
Yes.
way
No, not a
was it the way
double-edged
I was
sword. It's
brought
a
up?
double standard.
It is. It is absolutely a double standard. The way that some women, and we'll get into it later, the way that some women chose the
That's
bear
gross.
over the man, yet they're swooming over a guy who murdered 2 women. So I just don't I don't it's a double-edged sword, yes. And the way listen, the way we grew up, I mm, I've heard story after story about female teacher who slept with students, and is it wrong? Absolutely. But there was a time when it was one of those things like Stifler's mom.
I blame Dustin Hoffman and Mrs. Robinson. Because then all the guys were like, "Oh, oh, Mrs. Robinson."
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's been a tradition, like, it was
A
if a
tradition?
it's been a tradition that if a student slept with a teacher, it was like you were especially to 16, 15, 16-year-olds, like, if you heard somebody slept with a teacher as a guy, it was, like, the biggest thing in the world, like, "Oh my god, you slept with a teacher? That's fucking awesome, dude. That's fucking great. You nailed that teacher. You must be swinging." You know? It's just I don't it sucks. It is a double-edged sword, but when we were growing up, a lot of people didn't see it as a problem, and that's what's weird. Yeah, and that's
Um,
why,
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, were you gonna sleep with your teacher? What are you, gay?" You know? And I because I knew girls who would sleep with college guys, and and high school girls would sleep with college guys, and all we would think was like, "Well, I'll never satisfy her I'll never ever satisfy her. She's sleeping with a college dude," you know? And it's just I don't know. It's just a
Stupid. That's what it is. It's
it's
stupid.
but we're I don't it's a mentality that has to come out of a lot of people, and eventually, later as we go through the years, it'll come out of people, but I don't know. It's like, if an older woman bags a younger man in society right now, it's, "You go, girl. You do your thing. You're just getting yours." And don't tell me it's not. Don't sit there and tell me it's not. You can go online. You can go to any social media app there is, and you will find older women with younger guys, and you have women on there rah-rahing and all that. You have an older man with a younger woman, and you have all these people going, "What do you have daddy issues? What's wrong? Would your dad touch you? Did your dad do what'd your dad do to you?" Like,
Uh-huh.
it as a society, it's fucked up, but it's such a double standard with all this stuff.
Okay. I get what you're saying. In this case, it is more than that. You have a kid who has honestly, strategically been stripped away from family and friends by this not girl, woman, okay, for years.
Yeah.
It is like, and I know everyone talks about it, but it's like grooming. It really is. I mean, the isolation, then she gives him another family by using her family. They benefit from him because they know between his height, his ability, prospects that were going on when he was 15 in high school, because basketball, that's just how it is. People know who you are even from fucking middle school.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you want to hitch your wagon to somebody, that's a good way to do it. And you had your in. How do you know that when they were younger she didn't know that he had like a little crush on her because she was an older literally woman at 20 years old when he was 13?
But where was the parents? Where was his parents in all this? Where like, I understand that a lot of kids run away,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but where were his parents to be like, "No, you're coming home. I don't care." Like, where were his parents to be like, "No, listen, when you're 18, you do whatever you want. But
Right.
right now, this is what you're doing. You're coming home, you're not seeing her." Where were the parents to question, "What are you doing with my child?"
Yeah.
Where
And
were the
I don't
pa
know, why aren't people asking that woman, "What the fuck? That's gross." Like, I'm sorry, when she went to the prom, did some people get confused that she was a chaperone? I would have been.
listen, I was
She's old enough to be a fucking teacher at that school.
yeah. Well, now.
No, back then too. You
Well,
can graduate from with your teacher's degree at 22. She was 22, 23 when she went to prom.
I remember my friend Artan, um, to prove that he wasn't gay, brought a 35-year-old woman to our prom. She had kids.
Gross. Oh my
She had
god.
she had kids, and he brought this 35-year-old woman to a prom. That's what I mean. Like, I just kids, in order for you to be Mr. Masculine Macho, you have to prove that you're banging an older woman, and so
Until hold on, until you hit like 40, 45, and then you're like, "Oh, I gotta dump that broad and get myself a new model from I don't know who's 19." Mr.
I
Bill Belichick, that's disgusting.
By the way, did you see the meme of the penguin just doing this? And this is just hot girl just laying down in the back, and it says Bill Belichick and his new girlfriend. It's just I get it, but once again, where were the parents? Where were the
No, I
parents?
mean, it's true, but at the age of 18,
But at the age of but she's been
like,
doing it
what
since
can
she
they
was
do? They can't do
nothing.
anything,
Nothing, but you had
right?
from the age of 13 to 18, you had 5 years of the parents knowing something was going on.
How do you know? You don't know. The chick was out of fucking college. She was
Where
at
was
college.
where was your son? What was your son doing
At
online?
home playing basketball. This bitch, I heard some things in there that she was flying home to watch some of his games from school. Like, that's weird. And
Yeah,
apparently, like, the families were close, like family friends that they would consider each other family. So it's kind of like, okay, well, is it a situation where it kind of happened underneath everybody's noses because of how close everybody had been for so long? Could it have been a slow drip, drip, drip over the years? It's so easy to say, where's the parents? But kids are sneaky fuckers, man.
yeah, that's why I don't know. I just mm,
It's
I
nasty. It is
it
gross.
is
This chick's eggs are going to dry up inside of her body by the time this kid is 25. Okay?
listen, I take fucking offense to that because Amanda's 37 and we have an egg that's fertilized.
And
That's
so
going
am I. So I can say it too. I'm 37 too.
There's a baby
Okay?
bacon in there right now, okay? I'm 41. But
But you're getting my point.
I know what you're saying. But still, like, I don't know. It's one of those.
And
It's
then
a
you have
catch
these
22.
no, and then you have these assholes in the comment section and all these things. Being this one woman's like, "Well, my husband's 5 years older than me, and I met him when, or I was 5 years older than him. I met him when he was 28." And I was like, he was 28. He wasn't fit fucking teen,
Or 13.
dude. The guy
But
was still had crusty socks underneath his bed.
you just found out how to ejaculate, and she was like, "I want that seed." Yeah, no, it's. I
I
don't
need
know,
an
man.
investigation.
But
Everything.
she doesn't. Listen, I know the age, but she doesn't look that much. They look like they're both in like
Well,
he looks like. Listen, he still looks like he's 14. He just looks like a very tall 14-year-old in that picture. I don't.
God.
But yeah, like you said, oh, that hand. Look at that hand holding that phone. That tells a lot. The way she's just
No,
fucking gripping that phone all
well, in
so
a lot of these
tightly.
pictures too, she's got her hand like so gripped around his arm. It's really funny. I'm like, oh, well, it's not funny, but like
Yeah, I don't. It's
and there's one picture where you can see her engagement ring. And I was like, where did this boy get the money for that big of a ring.
Look at that.
Oh wait, hold on. With the NCAA, can they get the kids get paid now?
Yeah, they can get paid, but
Okay.
still, like, I mean, this is brother. My brother is the victim and unfortunately a perfect pawn and target for this girl's lifelong scheme based on his human characteristics and growing potential as a high level prospect, which started taking place in 2019, exactly the time when she began to pursue him. I wanted to take a moment to bring awareness, education, and support throughout this developing story. And because it is not a common situation that people know about, the important thing is to know that it is a real problem that exists. What the fuck are you, dude? What are you talking about? Have you ever heard of Drake? Have you heard of fucking Nick Cannon? These women do it all the fucking time. These
He
women will have.
was an adult, though. The kid was 15.
I I know.
I get what you're saying. He was 15. 15. He probably only had one ball hair at the time.
You seen how tall that kid is? That kid has had hair on his balls since he was 8. Okay, that kid's got some testosterone running through his fucking veins.
No, he probably has a pituitary issue.
It's just a funny word, pituitary.
I say that about all people that are really tall. I'm like, you probably have a pituitary issue.
You're never gonna get the true story and the facts from the whole chronological timeline of the events from start to current day from my brother or his girl because the facts and reality of the severity of the tragic story that my brother is trapped victim in goes to all the families out there who have suffered through this experience in the past and are currently going through it right now. Y'all are not alone.
Like, we're supposed to like think that, there aren't crazy bitches out there that just use people for like their potential into getting like their potential money and stuff. So
I'm
have
looking
you
for
ever
a
heard
man
of
in
the show?
finance, 6'5", six figures. You ever
Right.
heard that song?
Exactly. So it's just like, have you ever seen the show Blue Mountain State?
Oh, I didn't see the whole show, but I've seen pieces of it.
Okay. Well, in the first season, there's a guy on there and he's like a big prospect. Like they think he's going to go far, and he's had this girlfriend with him ever since high school. And the part of it is that she won't have sex with him until he goes pro, right? So that's their thing. And she just uses him for his skill because she wants him to go pro for that money
Yeah.
and for them to get married for that money. It's not a far out there thing. Women do it all the time. Men do it to rich women too. It's not a far-fetched thing.
Name me one young man who's done it to a rich older woman.
I'm gonna need a
I've
minute.
got like 9 I can think of right now. Anna Nicole Smith, everybody
Oh,
who's been with Hugh Hefner.
oh, no, woman, like, what about
No, I'm
a
just yeah, no, I know what
woman?
you're
Like,
saying,
yeah,
but
okay.
I'm saying name me one younger man who's done it to older women, but I can name you young women who've done it to older men. It's not, there's a lot
Well,
more.
okay, well, I could say, Patrick Dempsey, I think his first wife or still wife, got on that train when he was really young and up and coming. There's a lot of like different actors that you wouldn't think that like they're managers and stuff,
Hugh
who were
Jackman?
women who had married them when they were very young and they were like 30s or 40s when they were still in their early 20s.
So are you just trying to tell me women are money hungry?
Yeah. Some of us are whoas.
I just, I don't know. It happens. I think this Kyle Filipowski things happens a lot more than everybody realizes. Like you said, managers of these young up and coming stars will do this, and she's doing it for the money, and she just so happens to be very good looking, a smarter older woman, and a family friend. and she said, "I
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do," you know?
Yeah.
And
'Cause she's already got that trust from when he was young, right? Someone that he could have looked up to because she was cooler and older, that type of thing. Slowly pulling him away from his family, being like, "They don't really know what you need. I can show you what you need," you know? And then you use the sexual element into it too. The kid is he's young, confused, doesn't know what's going on in his brain or body or whatever. Total manipulation, head to toe.
yeah,
So easy, like, ugh.
and it's a n I and listen, I'm gonna say this, it's a lot easier to do to boys because they think with their wiener and they just see boobs and a vagina and they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,"
She's
you
not
know?
an ugly girl, she's very
No,
pretty.
no, yeah, and I guarantee you they will have a once he signs that whatever contract, because I know he got signed, but there's a lot of stipulations when, wait, hold on. Certainly, Hitchinson was dating Filipowski by the time he attended, his high school prom, going with him as his date when he was 17 and she was 24.
Right.
So, yeah, that's
Gross.
once again, problem, problem.
Yes.
But where were the fucking parents?
Sorry.
Bless you. Where were the parents? You're still a minor. I really, once again, people are looking to put out and finger point everywhere else, and not take responsibility. Oh no, she did this, and okay, I understand she did this. Minor. Tell him to bring his fucking ass home. Well, he might do something and run away. Okay. Then you tell that adult woman, if you don't bring my son home, I'm gonna press charges against you.
Yeah.
And
Well, but I mean, if you think about though, how hard would that situation be if it's from a close family friend where you're so close that the kids see themselves as cousins? I know it's backwards Alabama shit. I know.
I've been really trying, baby.
No.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
it just I don't know. I listen, I'm not in a situation, so I have no idea. So what I'm saying is just what should logically, when you put logic into it, what logically should happen is you tell that kid to bring his fucking ass home and you tell his cousin to make sure he's fucking home.
Yes, but what can you do after he turns 18 and he goes to Duke? Like,
Nothing.
apparently she followed him to Duke. They got a place together and she cut him off from his friends and his team. It is something that the Duke staff and coaching had kept under wraps for a long time. It's so much of an issue that this kid was supposed to be a number 1 draft pick. People had no idea why he did not become a number 1 draft pick. If it was all sunshine, roses, and daisies, and she's such a good girl, then why wasn't he drafted in the first round? Why was it considered a concern, his girlfriend, of his prospects of being a number 1 draft pick?
Oh, here it is. Standing in front of the Alabama home, Amanda Hutchins said, "We are weathering the storms. We are all zipped and clipped, just covering down." She promised again the clarification would be forthcoming, but would not elaborate what she meant by that. According to Amanda, it is out of my hands. It is in the hands of the PR, Kyle's agency, and the NBA, which approached by Daily Mail and the NBA said that they were not involved in the situation. I don't I still don't understand why. I don't understand why he went so low. Is it because of the age? I'm still really confused on why the NBA why he wasn't drafted the way he was supposed to be drafted.
So it was said because he didn't do as well on his interviews and there was a concern because of his girlfriend who was much older than him and him not having a relationship with his family.
Well, I did hear that when you go into the draft, they kind of test you on a bunch of
It's a
stuff.
cattle call, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things they do test you in is being able to answer the media,
Right.
which I guess is not a big thing in the WNBA because they don't handle the media very well. But and
Who watches
sometimes
their interviews anyway?
and sometimes in the NBA they don't handle interviews very well either. You know, not everybody is the front runner for interviews on stuff, but I don't it's weird. It's very weird and I don't understand it. It should be you're good at basketball, you're going to help a team win, draft that person.
All right. Here's the reason why. There's a whole field of study called sports psychology for a reason, because if your mental game's not there, your physical game's not there. So, it's true. It's true.
LeBron James went from high school to the NBA. You're telling me his sports psychology was very well?
Well, he had a supportive family and everything, right? He had a lot of support. You need to have like that type of support. So, if you're talking about mentality, if this guy's not doing well on interviews or he seems nervous when he's asked about certain things and stuff, you don't know how he is mentality wise. So if he's going to come in, when you're trying to get someone who's only 20 years old, didn't finish, I mean, what? Because in the NBA, you only have to do 2 years. You don't even have to actually do any college before you're
No.
drafted. So he probably didn't finish college. He's 20, right? So didn't finish college, right?
Yeah.
And going, and he's young, and so you're going to spend how many millions of dollars on someone who is going to be a dud because his mental game isn't there? No, you're not going to do that.
I don't know. I don't it just seems all weird to me. I think I think there's more to this story than just he was groomed and his girlfriend took him away from the family and she makes him uneasy. Like we don't know anything about his family. How do we know his family was good? How do we know
Well,
the
that's
way
why. Go ahead.
how do we know the way he was raised his family wasn't garbage? How do we know his family did the best they could for him? You know, how do you know that this girl didn't save him from, from his family?
All right, switch. Okay, so if it was a 15-year-old girl and a 22-year-old
21.
man,
21.
would you be saying the same thing?
No,
Oh,
because
well,
society's
maybe her
garbage.
maybe she didn't like her daddy, and,
Well,
he
listen,
was like her replacement daddy.
but I would be saying
No.
it if she was being abused of some sort at home and a family friend took her away and made her life better. Yeah. If the family friend took her away, made her life better, yeah, I would be saying, "No, fuck that." Her parents were abusive and whatnot. Okay. But you're right. It's all a mental game where she knew she was going to have NBA babies and that was the end goal for her. She was going to be a millionaire with NBA kids, to further her chain of a better life. And I get that.
Kyle's mom said that she had a 3-year plan to be his fiance by the time he got out of Duke, and that was while he was still in high school.
And the
Was her
mother
plan.
allowed that. And the mother allowed that.
Here's the thing, though. Like, he's a 7-foot tall dude, okay? He's got prospects at number one seeded schools probably across the country, all right? the people are wheeling and dealing, giving him money here and there when they probably shouldn't be, but whatever. That's how sports goes.
Mhm.
What's his mom going to do? Because by the time that he goes and signs off to go off to college and stuff, he's going to be 18. What can she do?
Once again,
Honestly.
up until he's 18, his mom has the right to say whatever the fuck she wants. Up until
Yes.
he's 18. Once he's 18, gloves are off. But up until 18, mom, dad, brother, sister, they all have a well, not they all. Mom and dad have a say in what he does until he's 18. So if they
I mean,
didn't really
here's another thing. Okay, well, maybe they're money hungry, grubbing people too, and they don't want to say anything and wanted him to do well too because they wanted on the money train as well. And they're just pissed because this broad got in there first.
now you get
It
what I'm
doesn't-
trying
it
to
does-
say.
But the thing is, but it doesn't mean that it's right.
No,
Either way.
it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. This broad, this 28-year-old cradle robbing
Well, it's not.
psychopath.
Listen, it's not cradle robbing because he is what 20. She's 20. He's 20. She's 28 now. I think it is. So it's only.
I was still doing body shots at 20 when I wasn't supposed to be. And then at 28, I had a full-time job and a kid.
When you weren't what? I wasn't supposed to be.
When I wasn't supposed to be.
You
But
said
I
I
was
wasn't.
doing
I wasn't supposed to be.
Well, I was gonna say it wasn't 21, but whatever.
But yeah, I listen. I just
His
there's
frontal cortex isn't fully developed yet.
We're just barely developed. It's 3 years in developing. But I don't know.
Why are you giving? I'm sorry. This is what's bothering me. Why are you giving her a pass? It's not. She's a pedophile.
I'm not.
So no one is saying this. She's a fucking pedophile.
Well,
Just because she's a pretty girl with nice tits, really? That's oh, we're just gonna give her a pass because he wants it. Okay,
I'm not giving her.
nuts. I'm going crazy.
I'm not
with
giving
this
her a
one.
pass. I'm just saying, where the fuck were his parents? That's all I'm asking. Where was his parents?
Look, the reason why I put some of those like 2 different articles in there for the same story or whatever. Look at the freaking comment section, though.
Oh, where? I have to scroll. Okay, all right. Let me.
My husband's gonna be like, "Why were you talking about pedos?" I can hear you screaming.
No,
You scared the dog.
oof, this is the wrong time for all this to become public. It's the new online obsession to find groomers, even when an apparent victim is an adult and doesn't claim to be a victim. Sadly, there are plenty of victims out there, so many predators that need to be locked up. They could bring attention to. Instead, the internet mob wants to decide whose life they want to intrude into and destroy. Maybe this guy will one day say he was manipulated, but until then, he's an adult making his own decisions. No, the numbers provided in the article stated that his brother indicated that he was 15 years old when she started pursuing / dating him as a 22-year-old. This is most definitely grooming and a perv. If they didn't know each other before the ages you stated, then maybe, but the article also said that the 2 families considered each other as families and basically grew up together. There is 0 evidence to support that claim. 7 years is not a big difference. My husband is 5 years older than me. It sounds like he cut his family off because they didn't approve of the relationship. Now they're trying to sabotage his NBA career. It's all about the Benjamins. Yes, it is all about the Benjamins. This 22-year-old woman in 2019 saw lots of future Benjamins in a 15-year-old, all capitalized, who was already on the NBA's radar and after him. It's possibility that his own family was not kind and supportive to him, and the girl backed him and helped him. We don't know what went on behind closed doors. Kind of what I said before. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
And that person's like, it's still considered statutory rape. Yes.
And now he's 20 now he's a 20-year-old man, and there's no doubt she's in love with his blank. Uh, when a relationship starts when you're the younger party is 16, 7 years is a lot. It's also sad, but we don't know. That's the problem.
No, we just don't know when their sexual relationship started.
We
Maybe
don't
she
know
waited until his 18th birthday
we
to make
don't
it
know.
better. So
We don't know.
legally,
Listen, we don't know when any of this started. Like, just because they were like he was 15, she was 22, and the families got together, do we know everything that's involved with it? No, I'm just stating that we don't know everything that's involved with it. Could the mom have just been like, "Hey, this is a beautiful girl. I want him to be involved in my son's life." Maybe mom had a coworker and she was her coworker and she brought her home and she was like, "You know what? This lady's going to be great for my son one day." And then the mom was just
even though there are pictures of them on Instagram when he was 13 and she was, wait for it, 20. And it says, "Oh, here's the family. Oh, nice to have the cousins together again." And it was like a throwback picture that she was in with Kyle and his brothers.
But this is what I mean. Like, there's just so much intertwined in this whole thing. Like, how did she become part of the family? How do the families know each other? When, there's just so much to unpack with all of this that I don't feel like it's cut and dry. And I'm sorry, there a double standard? Am I being double standard-ish? Yes, I am. But we don't know exactly. And I would say the same thing for the other way around. We don't know exactly, like, so if a 20-year-old guy and a 13-year-old girl, they were just their families were
There
friends
we go.
and they hung out together and then they ended up with each other a couple years down the road, like, are we to think that he groomed her, or are we to think that they were just family friends? They were just family friends that it blossomed into something else. We don't know, and that's the whole thing is, like, everybody's jumping
She
on.
went to his prom at 17.
That's the problem.
Followed him.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's kind of an issue. That's kind of an issue. That
And
they
she had written a comment on the picture because that's the first time that they were pictured like
they were
together was
dating.
at the prom, and said 1 year with my bae,
Yeah.
meaning he was 16
Yeah.
when they started dating.
Yes. That is a
Problem.
problem. No, you're absolutely right. That's a problem.
That's what I'm basing all this anger off of.
That's and that you're right. 1 year with my babe at 20 something years old and he's 16 years old is a problem.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know. There's just too much there's just too much nonsense and bullshit in there where we're never going to get the entire full story. Like, where's his parents? Has his parents said anything?
Yes. His mom said that this has been an ongoing issue for the past 2 years, and that when he was 18, he had written them an email basically cutting them out of his life forever. Saying, "You're no longer in my life," in an email, and the family says that it's her. That it
And
was her. I
has
don't know.
has his family said why the family were friends or anything like that? Has anybody
No,
said
I
anything like?
hadn't seen anything like that.
Yeah. I just don't. There's too much gray. Once again, I'm gonna say this. She's 22, 23 years old. He's 16. Saying 1 year with my bae at 17 years old at his prom is a problem. But the fact that the family allowed it to get to this point, his mother, his father, and nobody has said anything, it makes me suspicious of the mother and the father.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. It makes me very suspicious of his parents for not saying anything when all of this is out there.
Well, here's the thing though. How do we know they're not saying anything? Maybe they hated the relationship from the beginning and she's like, babe, you just have to cut them out. Like, we'll be our own family.
Because
And he's like, okay, can we have sex again? And she's like, yeah, sure, just write this email.
he just dumped a load, and she's like, here's the email, and he just sent to your mom. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, send.
Right?
I'm not gonna lie. You can get any guy to do anything right after he dumps a load. Right after his toes are curled, you could get him to sign like anything you want right after that thing is gone out of his body. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting story, and I hope that his parents come out and say something. But the fact that they're kind of being quiet, meanwhile they're all blasting everything that's going on out there. It just makes me sorry, I'm trying to get ready for the next story. It kind of gets me weirded out as to why there's nothing being said on being brought up by his parents.
His
You know?
parents are talking. His parents and his mom and his brothers are talking. Kyle and Caitlin are staying silent. They're weathering the storm, as her mom said, but she couldn't say any more because you needed to go through the PR team from the NBA.
Well, I mean, listen. Women
Ooh, she's a gold digger.
way out of town. That dick's on me. She take my money when I'm in need. But listen, once again, the reason why this episode is called "Should the Men Have Chosen the Bear" is because we talked about the the man versus bear thing a couple weeks ago, and now all of a sudden there's this guy named Wade Wilson who TikTok women, especially book talk, they call it.
Uh-huh.
This man murdered 2 women, bragged about murdering these 2 women in Florida, your home state.
Uh-huh. We got a
And
lot of
women
those
on
down there.
TikTok, huh?
We got a lot of those down there.
And you have women on TikTok that are just fawning over this guy. Meanwhile, this is what he looks like. He's got swastikas tattooed on him. He is an obvious white supremacist. But he also has a soul and is not as black as you think. Oh, Take Me Back to the Night We Met is the song that's playing. Oh, my apologies. Ah, son of a bitch. Can you hear it? I know you can hear it. I can't hear it because I don't have it on the right thing. This woman is fawning over this man. You see how it says 0 comments, right?
Uh-huh.
She has her comments turned off.
Of course she does.
Because go in my bio and sign the petition to avoid the death penalty. This man strangled 2 women. He tied one of the women up.
Uh-huh.
He tied one of the women up. The other woman, hold on. Let me.
Because I don't know this story. Like, I don't know what he did, what he is on trial for, what have you.
He's my son.
How do you know Wade Wilson?
He's my son.
Stephen Testaseca is Wilson's biological father. Back on October 7th, 2019, he got call after call from his tattoo-covered son.
He just told me, he did something. There was 2 people gone that would not be back. He said, I'm a killer. I just thought it was another story.
Testa recalls Wilson telling him how he met Christine Melton at a bar and ended up at her home.
He said he got on top of her and choked her.
Hours later, he said Wilson ran into Diane Ruiz, somehow got her into the car, and choked her too.
He said that he pulled her out of the car and realized that she was still breathing. He said he got back in the car and ran her over until she looked like spaghetti.
Wilson showed no emotion as evidence continued to pile up. His biological dad ultimately turned him over to police.
What's his demeanor as he's telling you?
He was excited.
You say excited, what do you mean by that?
I felt like he was wanting me to feel the way he felt about it.
Did he seem proud of it?
Yes.
Did he seem to show any kind of remorse?
Oh, ma'am.
And was he able to go into great detail about both of these ladies' deaths?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know Wade Wilson?
He's my
He ran one woman over to the fact where she looked like spaghetti.
Ugh. So he just did it just cuz?
Can you hear that?
Hear what?
I'm trying to see.
It's not on the screen.
No, I'm trying to get yeah. Here's another one.
Okay.
And where down we go, where down we go, say where down.
All these ladies are drooling over this man, and I'm one of them. He murdered 2 women. And these women,
I mean, listen,
I'm listening.
for a long time, you've had women that would like write into serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and like Ted Bundy, and even Charles Manson. Like people would like, I'm not surprised. I mean, shit, there's a whole show on TLC, like it's like Married in Prison, and it's like about these women who are marrying these guys who are in prison.
And
It's
There's-
like taking like, oh, I want a bad boy to like an extreme.
here's where this is why I named the episode I did, because I watched this Shamar Alian. So I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but he says it pretty good. These are the comments, right? Me too. Keep yourself safe. How tall is he? They said 6'6". I beg your finest pardon. Forgive me, Lord, but he's fine. I can't. Do you want to add me to the list alphabetically or numerically?
The
Oh,
funny thing is, when I heard this Wade Wilson story, I was about to make a video saying to the ladies how I understand why they chose the bear. Was about to be 100% sympathetic and say most men probably owe y'all an apology. Not to say I don't understand the context of choosing the bear. But judging by the 30-something fan videos that I've seen about Wade Wilson, judging by the hundreds of comments of women talking about how fine he is and how good he looks, with zero remorse for the women he killed, by the way. It's a little bit conflict of interest, contradicting, if you will, don't you think? Don't get it twisted. Women have
yeah.
always confused the shit out of me. How a woman can be literally starving and not know what she wants to eat, that confuses me. How a woman...
He's not wrong. Do you know what you want to eat, Mama J?
Mostly popcorn a lot.
Are you looking up Wade Wilson now?
No, I'm trying to find my OBS shit and turn it off.
Oh.
Made me download it. Now I can't.
Listen, Rich will help you. You probably have to just unplug your camera and plug it back in, 'cause that's what I had to do. You're on mute. You're muted. You're muted.
Why did it just mute me? Okay, I'll figure it out later.
Now you're
I don't know
go in,
what's going on.
go into your settings and hit the audio and change it to back to your Yeti.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to. We'll fix you up. I'll get Rich on after this. But yeah, it's a crazy thing where you have now women who last month were saying I would choose the bear over a man, are now fawning over this guy who literally killed 2 women, turning one into
Yeah.
spaghetti, as he said.
A woman can
Yeah.
be mad at her man for leaving the toilet seat up, but he can't get mad for her leaving it down. That confuses me. How a man is a body shaming jerk for not wanting to date an oversized or a big woman, but it's perfectly okay for a woman to not want to date a short guy. That confuses me. And we can sweep all that shit under the rug, but this situation confuses the fuck out of me. Because how do you say I chose the bear to go with a safer route than opt to choose the devil? Hey, but I guess as long as he's handsome, right? Truth of the matter is, most of y'all chose the bear because you don't know how to choose a man.
Get her.
Bye.
Is he wrong?
No.
Is he wrong? I
Listen, I don't know sometimes. And the hungry thing, that is very true, because that happened to me today. I'm so hungry, I just don't know what I want to eat. It happens a lot. I thought I wanted salmon, but I ended up having eggs. Like, oh my God. I need to leave and come back for a second because I need to go get some more tissues.
Okay, unplug your camera and then plug it back in.
Unplug my camera and plug it back in?
Unplug it. And then,
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to
Okay.
plug everything and then I'll come back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So while
I'm
she's
going to
gone,
turn myself off too because you can hear
yeah,
me still.
yeah. So this woman here, I admire his looks. It's not about him as a person. I mean, no disrespect to the victims. The man has swastikas tattooed and Nazi tattoos all over his body. Tell me again how. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I get the women want the bad guy and the bad boy and what it is. But once again, last month you were choosing the bear. And the replies in that is fuck off. You're sick. Go see a doctor. Shut the fuck up. Go see a psychiatrist. What's wrong with you guys? That's vile. And her response, you keep hating calling me a Wade Wilson sim, but in the end, him, you, and I are judged by God and no one else, and I'll die on that hill. Really? It's because he's 6'6" and he's handsome. If he looked like the Penguin, nobody would give a fuck. That's why. And another reason I bring this up, because Bunny XO, Jelly Roll's wife, got in a little bit of heat for wanting to have him on her podcast. Bunny XO. I thought I saved it, but I didn't. Let's see.
The whole Bunny XO and Wade Wilson situation. If you're not familiar with the whole situation, Bunny XO recently released a video, I believe it's now deleted, saying that she would like to secure an interview with convicted murderer Wade Wilson. Now, I believe she went so far as to actually call the prison that he was housed at to try and secure the interview. Now, my takeaway from the entire circumstance is this. I think that the world is upset about the circumstances revolving this crime. I think that everybody is upset, more so even at Book Talk recently, for kind of glamorizing this guy and focusing maybe more so on his looks, more so than anything else, in the heinous crimes that he committed. Nevertheless, understand that there is a fascination with the criminal mind, serial killers. Look,
And there are. There's news reporters who have interviewed Ted Bundy. There's news reporters who have interviewed the Oklahoma City bomber. Fucking Rolling Stone had the Boston bomber on the front cover looking all dreamy. But you're going to go after Bunny XO for wanting to interview him. And listen, she's a journalist. I don't care what you say. Okay, because journalists aren't real journalists anymore. They want to push out a narrative and their own what they want to do for money. And Bunny XO, I don't know her from Adam, but she wanted to interview him. And so what? You have women glamorizing this guy, and she wants to get. By the way, do we not forget that women love murder mysteries? Do we not forget that investigation discovery? That's all women talk about sometimes, about how they, they're all women are into that stuff. So she wanted to go and interview him to talk to him. I just don't get where nowadays it's a bad thing to interview people who are crazy and not give a platform. They call it not platforming. Listen, people want all sides of the story. I feel bad for the families that are involved, and maybe, I don't think that the family would like her to interview him to get his side of the story, but everybody has a voice and everybody's allowed to say their side of the story. But the fact that people are coming at her for just wanting to interview him, how do you know what the interview would be like? How do you know that Bunny XO wouldn't have done a great job in interviewing him? How do you know Bunny XO wouldn't have said something to him that changed him? You don't. Now you got it. Now people are now people will never find out because she doesn't want to do it. So good job, guys. Good job.
Look at the countless amount of documentaries, interviews with famous, notorious serial killers. I mean, people fall asleep to this stuff nowadays. It is just part of how society is, especially here in America. Understand that if it's not Bunny, then someone else will be securing this interview at some point in time, and it will absolutely take off. I would certainly like to believe, as a victim of domestic violence herself, that Bunny would not really want to spin the narrative in a way that's entertaining or glorifying any of the actions taken, more so of a deep dive into the criminal mindset of somebody who could commit these atrocious acts. But what are your guys' thoughts on it? Go ahead and drop it down in the comments whether you think she was right or wrong about this whole situation.
Yeah.
I was listening to you the whole time, and I think you're right. Like, I'm like binge watching CSI right now. Like, yeah, I don't know what it is about these like murder mystery things, but it is a lot of women who like it a lot. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have to fix this.
Women love
I
murder.
apologize for being so nasally. I've got a cold for my son, so
Women love murder mysteries. They do. And the fact that they're trying to they I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to him, I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the fact that they're trying to get Bunny XO to talk to h because I'm trying to, because I think it was. So I don't know if it was deleted. But here's her apology. She had to fucking apologize.
Why? Because she wanted to interview the guy?
Yeah.
I think anybody who has followed me for a really long time knows that my intentions were not to glorify somebody. It was more of
This is
an
just a
interview
bunch
with
of
him
bullshit.
yesterday
People who
cleaning-
are mad at her for wanting to interview him, they're just a bunch of fucking retards. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, how many times have we seen like killers and stuff interviewed? Like, there's shows about interviewing killers and stuff like that, and you're gonna get mad at just one lady whose at is what's her name?
Bunny XO, Jelly Roll's wife.
Bunny XO? Really?
You don't know who
Not
Bunny
Baba
XO is?
Wawa? Not Baba Wawa?
Baba Wawas.
Got mad at her, or any other journalist or someone who has like a space where they have people watching them who might be interested in a story.
They made an entire series about Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix. They've made movie upon movie.
Two. Oh no, not Jeffrey Dahmer. Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. They made 2 movies on Ted Bundy.
They had 2 on Ted Bundy.
But you're gonna get mad at Bunny XO for
Dude, Evan Peters, who played Jeffrey Dahmer, won like an Oscar or some shit like that for his portrayal of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Listen, I haven't listened to any of Bunny's podcasts. I'm not gonna lie. We do our own stuff. We have a bunch of stuff that we've been doing. But I hear they're great. I hear she does a fantastic job. I hear she's amazing, is an amazing interviewer. And I would love to. I love when normal, everyday people have conversations with these kind of people, because they kind of get to say what normal, everyday people want to say to these people, not interviewers who are journalists who are just asking these questions that were pre-written by somebody else and looked over, and the network went, yeah, okay, you can ask this question. Yeah, no, we don't want you to ask this question. I guarantee you she would have gone into some deep dive stuff that no journalist would probably ever fucking touch. But God forbid you allow Bunny XO to do this.
his innocence, and I was like, what? Like, how could this man even think he was innocent?
Did you kill Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz?
No, I did.
That lady did an interview. Nobody's angry at that lady.
Yeah.
Did not say the man was hot. I said women think he's hot and some think he's weird, talking about how the internet is so divided over this murder story. And now that he's saying he's innocent, and how the internet is just half of them is divided because everybody's like, oh dude, he's so fun. But what makes me an asshole is being insensitive to the victims' families. I think
once again, it's a catch-22 because of the families, but they're gonna do the interviews anywhere. They're gonna do the interviews no matter what. And I would
If you're
rather
gonna do an interview with him and then do an interview with their family.
Yeah.
Oh my God, as time goes on, my eyes are you can see my eyes are getting watery. They're really, really bad.
I want to see what this
the
girl has to I really want to see what this girl has to say.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We're just trying not to gross everyone out.
I just saw a video of Bunny talking about how she called the prison.
Can you turn it up?
Wade
I'm sorry.
Wilson's at because
Sorry.
she wanted to interview him, and she thinks he's fascinating and cool, and he just has basically she thinks he has a.
That's not what she said. We just saw what she said. We just saw what she said.
Hell of a story, and it blows my mind because if she were to be put in a room with him and law enforcement were to leave and he didn't have handcuffs and he could do whatever he wanted to her, I just wonder if she would find him as cool and as fascinating. Because if you guys don't know who Wade Wilson is, like, he's the guy that hooked up with some girl, murdered her, stole her car, and then
So was Dahmer. So was the son of Sam.
Yeah.
I just don't like. This is what gets me about the younger generation. They're the smartest dumb generation out there, and she looks young. Let's go and see her profile. 24. Called it.
Yeah,
She's young.
It's faux righteousness.
Yeah. It's just you don't understand. It's been done
It could
for
also be for
years.
clicks too.
I mean, she's got, what is it, 16.2K likes. I want to see. Let's finish, and then I want to go to the comments.
Okay, sorry.
I just wonder if she would find him as cool and as fascinating. Because if you guys don't know who Wade Wilson is, like, he's the guy that hooked up with some girl, murdered her, stole her car, and then literally found another woman, dragged her into the vehicle, killed her, pushed her.
Now, what happened? He didn't drag her into the vehicle. See, she doesn't even know the fucking facts of the story. He persuaded her into a vehicle. She went into the vehicle. He strangled her, then went to look for a place to dump her body, found out she was still alive, and then ran over her. He didn't pull her.
Out of the vehicle and then proceeded to run her over and mangle her body so many times that bystanders and witnesses said her body looked like spaghetti on the road.
He said that he ran her over until her body looked like spaghetti.
And how a woman can be like, and how other women, like, I see all kinds
Is
of
she
women being
wearing
like,
a
"Oh, so
shirt, or
hot."
is that just a blanket over her chest?
I think she's wearing a shirt. Yeah, it's a shirt.
Okay.
That's not hot. And maybe it's because I dated a guy that I fully believe is capable of doing that to a woman, but that behavior is not hot. It's terrifying. And you guys really need therapy. Like, you guys need to seek a lot of help and fix whatever is in you, because you guys all have problems. That's terrifying. He's not cool. He's not fascinating. What he did is not cool or fascinating. And you can love true crime and be a true crime girly and do it with taste and not like a total ignorant, like a dumbass. Okay, we can do that.
Pro-Palestine.
Shoot. Where'd it go? Okay.
So
I wanted to go to comments. No.
So
The fact that Bunny is a DV survivor and did this, wow. Bunny is sick for this. Would she interview him if he had been her family member? I've always found something off about, like, someone said that the girls lust after him are just demons recognizing other demons, and I can't stop thinking about that. He literally had a swastika tattoo. Like, hello. Yeah, so did what's his face? Manson.
Uh-huh.
Manson had a swastika tattooed on his forehead, and they interviewed him.
So, yeah.
Okay.
No, like, he sucks. Yes. Like, and she said that he sucks, but she just wanted to interview him just to interview him because he's a hot commodity right now with all these other women being like, ooh.
There we go. Manson had a following.
Right.
Facts. Literally, pretty much all serial killers have fan clubs and groupies. See Ted Bundy and Richard Ramirez. Yes. But Manson wasn't a serial killer. He didn't actually. Oh my God. He didn't actually kill anyone. Not sure why he's called a serial killer.
Honestly, I don't understand why he's considered a serial killer
not
either.
like,
I'll be honest with you. I'm on that. I'm like, I don't think he's a great guy. I'll say that, but he physically didn't do it to anybody. Yeah, you could say like he manipulated people or whatever, sure, but I don't know. It's weird. I think that whole case is so weird, but that's just me.
It is. He didn't kill anybody, yet he's considered a serial killer.
Right.
But That's what.
Like, he was that influential. Like, think about anybody who has ever been in like a cult leader or whatever. And
Yeah.
he's like high up on the pedestal. It's weird.
It is. I just think it's very strange that people are
He's an odd
mad.
bird.
People are mad at Bunny XO for wanting to interview somebody to see what they're like, and people are just wanting to cancel her for it. And I just and the fact that once again she had to apologize.
Yeah. That's
Eh,
what you're saying. Why? Who had the gun to her head to make her apologize? You say fuck you all.
well, that's
honestly.
well when you're that big, it's
You
a
can say
double-edged sword.
fuck you all.
Yeah, I get that, and that's what we are. That will fuck everybody. We'll interview whoever we want to interview, but when you're that big, influential, and I know a lot of people, you know, coming at Jelly Roll for a bunch of stuff, and they're now apparently I saw a tweet that Jelly Roll is a demon, and his skeletons will be revealed eventually. Like the internet, it's just a headache. It's just a fucking headache, and it really is. It
Didn't
really
Jelly
is.
Roll? Didn't he say, "Oh yeah, I have a bad past anyway"?
Yeah.
So I don't understand why that would be a surprise.